Welcome back to the third segment of Bernama today. Fabian Narcis together with President and Medical Director Dr. Soundri Somasundram. Did I get your name correct?
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome, good morning.
Thank you.
World Cancer Day falls on 4th of February, and I actually invited the NCSM to come here and talk about the World Cancer Day Conference and Expo. And this year they actually have a theme, and off air I was discussing with Dr. Soundri, and she hasn't finished yet, so I'll let you do the explanation again. This year's theme, every year there's a theme, right?
Yes.
That's what, according to what you said. What's this year's theme?
Okay. This year's theme is about dispelling myths about cancer.
Okay.
It's basically the same as last year.
Okay.
But this year we're targeting on 4 different aspects of cancer.
Okay.
The first myth that we want to target is really about that there's no reason to talk about cancer. A lot of people think that, we're fatalistic about cancer, that there's nothing you can do about cancer, so why talk about it?
Right.
But what we want to say is that there's a lot you can do about cancer, and the scenario with cancer has changed so much over the years that there's things you can do in terms of prevention, finding it early, and treatment protocols. So there's a lot of things to talk about in terms of cancer.
And there is also going to be a expo and also conference, right, happening on the 22nd, only one day?
Yes, it's only for one day.
Oh, okay. And this is going to be officiated by the Honourable Health Minister, Dr. S. Subramaniam. Where is this going to be held?
It's going to be held... Now I see you asked me that. And it's just gone straight out of my mind. The hotel next to PWTC, which is...
Hotel next to PWTC.
Okay, I've got it here. I've got it here.
All right, Sri Malaysia. I can't remember as well.
Yes, it's 3 something.
Okay.
But I will come back to that.
All right. So what's going to be happening at the conference? Sri Pacific Hotel. Okay. All right. What's going to be happening there? I mean, roughly, what the topics are going to be discussed? Because apparently you have 2 topics, right? Oncology in general practice, and that's for medical practitioners, and also cancer prevention, early diagnosis, and the treatment as well. And that's for the general public, right?
Yep.
And maybe you can tell us a little bit more.
Okay. That goes to dispelling myth number 2 and number 3. Myth number 2 is about there's no signs and symptoms of cancer. People think that you're healthy today and tomorrow suddenly you have cancer and you never knew. But there are signs and symptoms to cancer. And so we are having the expo on the 22nd, and it's 2 expos basically. It's concurrent. One are for general practitioners, so because they're the front line. At the end of the day, before your oncologist, surgeon, anybody sees a patient, the first person is generally your general practitioner. Your GPs.
The one that detects.
Exactly. So that part of the forum is for GPs, so your frontliners, to actually learn about the latest in terms of signs and symptoms of cancer, how to detect cancer, the changes there are in the cancer scenario, especially in cancers like lung cancer and colorectal cancer. Before lung cancer, there was nothing you can do about it in terms of detection. But now there's a lot more that you can do. There's actually tests that people look at in terms of detecting lung cancer. Nasopharyngeal cancer as well, cancer of the nose. I mean, these are the most common cancers that you have in Malaysia. So it's proper that the frontliners know exactly what to look out for so that you can find the cancer early.
Just want to double check with you, right? If you go for a blood test, you also could detect some signs from there. Am I right?
I'll hit you now.
I don't know.
I know. Yeah. There's this misconception that there's a magic bullet in terms of doing tumor markers for cancer. That if you do your blood test and you look at all these tumor markers, you're going to be able to find out whether you have cancer or not. The reality is that tumor markers only work for prostate cancer. Because it's very specific. Only the prostate can release this chemical which you can pick up in the blood. For the other tumor markers, for breast, colorectal, for ovarian cancer, liver cancers and things like that, they're very non-specific. Which means that, say for ovarian cancer, people talk about doing a CA125. If I had I was dehydrated, if I had an infection, or if I had my menses, etc., etc., all this would be raised. It would raise my CA125. And if you take your blood, people would think, oh, maybe I have cancer. But in actual fact, it has nothing to do with ovarian cancer at all.
So when you talk about early detection, like your GPs would detect it, what if it happens that I don't go to a doctor?
Then you yourself can learn about signs and symptoms. And that's the second part of the forum.
Right.
It's for the general public.
Right.
It's for the general public to realize that how do you prevent cancer?
Okay.
There are 5 main areas in which we look at in terms of prevention of cancer, and most of these things you know about, and it's tobacco use, it's alcohol, it's lifestyle, it's the diet that you have, it's not eating right, it's not doing enough activity. All these things are linked to cancer.
Right.
So the second forum, basically the concurrent forum, is to the general public, and it's to highlight these issues. It's to highlight how can you prevent cancer, one, and two, how can you find cancer early.
Right.
Because for the cancers that you can't prevent, if you can find it early, you can downstage it,
yeah.
Meaning that you find it at an earlier stage, you have a greater success at treatment.
Right. And treatment centers here in Malaysia are good enough to actually prevent all this, right? Because I know quite a few success stories coming up from, breast cancer, lung cancer, a lot of types of cancers. Like what you said, the most common ones are nose cancer.
Yes.
Yes, I haven't heard of that yet still. But we're going to go in a little bit deeper after the commercial break, because we're going to talk about the International Day, what celebrates all around the world, because apparently, according to the statements that you sent to us, it's basically an initiative that entire the world to fight against global cancer epidemic. Now, we want to know what are the small steps that we do here in Malaysia to be supporting the global, effort.
Okay.
Right? All that and more after the commercial break. Stay tuned. Yep.
Travel, not because I like to travel. I travel so I can say this. What you're looking for is inside of you, and you should be in peace.
Rawat has been traveling for 40 years, inspiring people around the world to find peace within.
I go and I talk to people, and I present them with the possibility of themselves discover the peace that lies within you.
Isu-isu dunia hiburan dan seni tanah air. Cabaran selebriti berbisnes raih pendapatan sampingan. Perkembangan terkini artis tempatan dan antarabangsa serta dunia sinema. Segalanya disisipkan dengan penuh berinformasi dan santai menerusi program hiburan terbaru. Telesini bukan sekadar hiburan. Setiap Sabtu jam 12.30 tengah hari hanya di Bernama TV.
Masa mengupas isu semasa, jadi saluran pelbagai suara, segalanya baru dan benar di Berita Bernama TV.
Welcome back to the fourth segment of Bernama today, and off air we had a very good conversation again because I was one of the person that's asking Dr. Soundry over here that blood tests could it detect cancer, and after that we went on to the topic of a lot of initiatives. A lot of doctors that we have sitting on this very seat over here speaks about treatment. all the doctors that comes in talks about treatment. But then again, according to Dr. Soundry, what is more important is the information you get before detection, right?
Yes.
How do you detect that? And these are things that are not happening here in Malaysia, and that's why NCSM is going out there and trying to tell us, inform us, remind us, and telling us over and over again that we should know what we are doing. And I believe that it's word of mouth, that's the best marketing, right?
It is.
Yeah. So maybe, in a global effort that we're trying to do to inform everybody about prevention, over here we will scale down to the very bottom, very beginning. If I go for a blood test and somebody over the counter tells me that, hey, you want these cancer markers, you pay about 70 to 100 ringgit and we can check for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, what has happened over the years is that medicine in itself has become a business for many people.
It is a business.
It is a business.
Medical tourism, that's how the
exactly.
word and the term came.
It is a business, and so in any business, you want to make money.
Correct.
So yes, there are a lot of investigations out there that you can do in terms of cancer.
Okay.
But what the general public needs to know, what every single person needs to know, is what is appropriate and what will work and what doesn't work.
Right.
And people on the other side of the counter who are selling it might not tell you the right facts.
Maybe they don't even know because they're just getting something from the doctors, right?
Exactly, and it's not just the doctors. Medicine has moved beyond the doctors now.
Right.
I think, as you know, beauty salons now are doing screening for breast cancer.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
They'll market a machine and say that, I can check for breast cancer. And the general public say, wow, this is available, I'll do it. But they don't actually realize that the machine has not been proven to be the best possible way of checking for cancer.
Okay.
And two is that the person who is doing the check might not exactly, are not certified or, do not have the right information there is in terms of evaluating your risk for cancer and knowing whether you're high risk or low risk, etc., etc.
And this has been going around for how long already? I mean, from your knowledge, how long has this been going around?
Oh, I've been in this...
no, I mean, this beauty salon thing is new.
No, it's not. We've been fighting it for a long time. In terms see, you don't go to beauty salons, the right beauty salons. It's been going on for a long time, and we've been fighting it for quite a long time in terms of the non-profit organizations that we have gone up to the Ministry of Health and said these things are happening, it shouldn't happen. We've actually fought it legally as well to say that you shouldn't be doing things like this.
Exactly.
But the problem is that just because a machine has been what they say is that it's been certified by Ministry of Health.
Right. Is it certified? It is.
But yes, but all certification means is that it does not cause harm.
Right. It's like serum.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that that is the best possible way to check for cancer.
Right.
So when you push this thing and say approved by Ministry of Health or certified by Ministry of Health, for most people you think that, okay, that means that it is the best way to check for cancer or it is an approved way to check for cancer, when it actually doesn't mean that at all.
Right, okay.
So it's understanding those things. It's understanding that, yes, there's a lot of investigations out there you can do for cancer, but you have to know what are the right ones out there to check for cancer, which will give you the best possible success in detecting it early and finding finding cancer at the right time.
Dr. Soundry, maybe you can give us a little pointer what we can do to find out by ourselves, other than attending this prevention and early diagnosis treatment options that's going to be held on the 22nd of February, other than that, what else can we do as a person? Because every one of us has cancer cells, right?
Yep.
Yeah. How do we detect this? I mean, going forward from to avoid these marketing terms and marketing tactics, because even websites these days can't be trusted anymore.
Many websites can be trusted, agreed. But there are some websites that you can trust. The websites that you can go into the National Cancer Society website, which is www.cancer.org.my, so very easy to understand. You can actually go into the American websites. If you just remember cancer, so www.cancer.gov.
Right.
Which is
American government.
which is the American government, which will list down for you all the different types of screening.
Okay.
You can go into www.cancer.org, which is the American Cancer Society, which again will give you the recognized guidelines in terms of cancer screening. You can actually go into the World Cancer Day website itself, or the UICC.org website, which is the International Union of Cancer Organizations, which World Cancer Day is all about. So there are websites out there which you can find information about. We actually have pamphlets at the National Cancer Society, and many of the cancer non-profit organizations here have pamphlets which give you guidelines in terms of what are proper screening methods and what are not proper screening methods.
Right, and when you talk about screening methods these days, after we screen, do we get a reputable doctor, or is there a person that's going to advise us which are the treatments that's best suited for this particular problem?
Basically, when you look at screening, screening is actually doing tests when there's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
Okay, and that is something which Malaysians don't do.
Right.
You know, we tend to wait until we find a symptom, whether you have breast pain or whether you find a lump somewhere, and then you think, oh, you know, I better go and check up.
Yeah.
By that time, it might be too late to have an early diagnosis.
Okay.
Meaning that you're already at the late stage of cancer.
Okay.
What we want people to do is to realize that when there's nothing wrong with you, there's certain tests that you should do to try to find the cancer early. And just a simple example is, you know, Soxo.
Yeah.
A lot of us pay money towards Soxo.
Of course.
Soxo last year...
Down the road.
Soxo last year actually gave their members free examinations up to 100 ringgit.
Right.
For 1.9 million eligible Soxo members.
This is 40 and above, right? If I'm not mistaken?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
1.9 million. Only 330,000 took it up.
Right. So the balance...
The balance, you know, and this is free. Right. Now, all of us go around looking at Groupon. All of us wait outside doors when you hear that there's going to be a clearance sale. We'll be waiting there, you know, 2 hours before the doors open to get 50% off. This, you're getting free medical examinations, and we're not picking it up. LPPKN is giving 50% off for mammograms, subsidized mammograms, and for some people, they do it free of charge.
Okay.
And women aren't coming to do these mammograms.
Is it because it's not been publicized properly? I'm just wondering.
It's been publicized. It's just that people think that if I don't feel ill, why should I go check up?
And that's a common fact, isn't it? I mean, like, a lot of people have that. If you don't have a problem, why fix it?
But you could have a problem that you don't know about.
No. What I'm saying is,
well, the thing is, look at your car.
Yeah.
If your car is driving normally, you still go for a service, don't you?
Yeah, for every 5,000 kilometers.
Exactly, but you still do the service, even there's nothing wrong with it.
All right.
It's the same with your body. You still need to go and check and have a service done, even though it's running normally.
Right, and this is on an annual basis that you're recommending for a check, or 6 months once?
It depends. When you're talking about cancer, generally we say checkups in terms of going to a medical practitioner is over the age of 40.
Over the age of 40, okay.
And that's when you're talking about breast cancer, you're talking about colorectal cancers, your prostate cancers are much older, of course. And yes, you know, for your general checkups, generally we do say over the age of 40, you should go once every few years to get a checkup.
Years?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be every year, because once you get a checkup and you've been given the all clear, then they might say, okay, come back in 2 to 3 years, depending on your personal risk.
Okay.
If you don't have a family history of cancer, if you don't have a family history of diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, then, and you are well, then you don't have to check up every single year.
Right.
But it depends on the person itself. You have to look at your own personal history and relate that. You can't, there's no one fits all sort of thing.
Okay, I understand.
But in the sense of a person at home, in terms of cancer, you should be checking up from the age of 20.
20 years old?
Yes, doing your breast examinations at home.
Yeah.
For men, actually doing testicular examinations.
Right.
Self-examinations yourself. recognizing the signs and symptoms of cancer is something which should be done at a young age and not waiting till you're 40, 50 years old,
right,
to recognize the signs of symptoms.
Right, so World Cancer Day falls on the 4th of February 2014, and if you're free on the 22nd of February 2014, you can join the inaugural World Cancer Day Conference and Expo. It's happening at Hotel Sri Pacific. It's the one near PWTC. It's going to be officiated by our Honourable Health Minister, Dr. S. Subramaniam, on the 22nd. And what time does it open?
At 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock till?
5
o'clock, so it's a working day, so to say. 9
and
to 5.
It's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday, and it's also the days where doctor work half day. Yes. Most of the days. Right, Dr. Santri, thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for sharing with us a little bit about this platform. And if you want to get to know a little bit about the NCSM, you can go on to cancer.org.my. I do not know whether they have the website flashed already or not. Cancer.org.my, and that's where you can find out a little bit more about the event that's going to happen on the 22nd. And also, if you want to get some advice, you can also call the NCSM, and they will be more than happy to assist you. Thank you very much, Doctor, for coming in the morning.
You.
We're going to have the Malay News up next right here on Bernama TV as news follows throughout the day. Stay tuned.